Hi everybody, this is Bogus Reviews, and today I'm going to be doing a review on the brand new and highly anticipated McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Collector Edition Hawkgirl figure. So before we take a look at Hawkgirl, let's go ahead and take a look at all of the accessories that she comes with. So first up, she comes with your standard DC Multiverse base. She does actually benefit from using this. She can be a little bit top heavy because of her wings, so yeah, depending on the pose you want to get her in, you'll definitely have to use this. Up next, you get her data file with a really cool shot from the JSA comic. This art is done by Arthur Adams, really incredible artist. And if you want to read that, go ahead and pause that now. Up next, she comes with a set of fisted hands. Up next, she comes with a set of open hands, and as far as I can tell, all of these hands are reused from the Collector's Edition Wonder Woman figure. And finally, she comes with her accessory holding hands and her mace. And this looks really good. I love the color that it's cast in. It's like a gunmetal color with blue mixed into the plastic there. And that looks really good. You get some textures on there, and the wrapping is sculpted pretty nicely. That looks pretty good. My only complaint is she doesn't actually have any storage on her belt like she does in the comics. Would have been cool if you could have attached this to her belt, but you can't. So now, let's go ahead and take a look at her head sculpt. So taking a look at this head sculpt, I think McFarlane Toys did a really good job on this. I've always thought her helmet looked really cool. The way you get the lighter brown there looks really good. It almost looks like it's airbrushed on there. It just looks really cool. And the gold there for the lenses looks really awesome. It's a very shimmery gold color. And surprisingly, the lips are actually printed on. They have a little bit of variation to them, and that's because they're printed on. So yeah, McFarlane Toys did a really awesome job on this head sculpt. It looks very cool. She does reuse the Sky Tyrant wings from the Batman Who Laughs. And I didn't realize how detailed these were. They're like beautifully detailed. Each feather is sculpted really nicely. It's cast in a dark gray color and has light gray painted over top of it. And that looks really good. As I said, on the Batman Who Laughs, I didn't realize how detailed these wings were. They look really good. They did try to hide the pins right here where the wing attaches since it is in two parts, and I think it's done better on the left side than on the right. You can see a lot of gappage right there. But other than that, they look really good. They don't actually move up and down though. They're actually connected into the back a lot differently than I'm used to. I actually tried to move these up because I thought they were on a similar system, just a ball peg that moves around. But no, this is a brand new ball peg. It only moves back and forth. So that is a bit different for this figure. There she is with her wings all the way out, and the wingspan is pretty big on these. I think that looks really awesome. And once you have them out, I think the part where the articulation is actually hidden pretty well. I think McFarlane Toys did a really good job of incorporating the articulation into this and hiding it once you have the wings extended out like that. As far as I can tell, her upper and lower torso right here are brand new pieces. I don't remember seeing them used on any other figure. I feel like the texturing on this would have stood out. I think that looks good for the most part. Another thing that I didn't realize is most of this figure reuses parts from Wonder Woman. That really surprised me. So here you can see that they do reuse the same arms. You just get a new armband right here and new bracers. These actually aren't glued down, so when you're switching the hands out, they will tend to fall off. I definitely wish those would have been glued down. But the arms, the hands, the shoulders, especially the shoulders, you can tell because the way that joint is cut right there. And the legs are reused from Wonder Woman. You can tell especially here on the boots. I do think it's a pretty good reuse, but I didn't realize from the promo pictures that she actually shared so many parts with Wonder Woman. I do like that McFarlane Toys cast these armbands right here in the same plastic as the mace. That way the collars match up. I think that looks really good. I'm not super fond of these bracers though. They definitely need some silver painted on the studs right here. I definitely wish her forearms would have resembled the comic art a little more. The way she has like the Talon gloves in the comics, or even just wrappings. Since these aren't glued down, it would have been cool if they would have included multiple options, or at least just the wrappings. I think that would have been really cool to have interchangeable parts right here for her forearms. You do get her logo painted there on the center of the belt. I wish the little pouches would have had touches of silver on them. Another nitpick that I have with this is the boots. You can see that in the comics these kind of had talons on the ends of them, and they decided to just paint that on, and that doesn't even look like talons, it just looks like little lines. So I do wish they would have painted that better, or just given us new lower feet right here, because these are actually sculpted on the yellow piece right here. So all they would have had to do, I assume, is just modify the sculpt of this a little bit to include the talons there. And you even get the soles of her boots sculpted on right there. I forgot to mention, you also get the textures, but if you have the previous Wonder Woman figure, then you're already familiar with that. So now, let's go ahead and go over her articulation, which I think is actually really nice. I think she's articulated very nicely. So she has a ball-jointed head that can look up all the way. She can look down all the way. She can move side to side and all the way around. As I mentioned, the wings only move back and forth right here at the base. They do feel kind of ratcheted, so I don't think they'll get very loose. You can also move the wings in like that. I definitely wish you would have been able to move them up and down, but they still have some nice range of motion nonetheless. She has shoulders that can move all the way out. They can spin all the way around very nicely. You can actually get her in a pose like she's going to be swinging her mace. If you fiddle with it, you can. But I really like that she has such good range of motion there in the arms for that. She has a swivel here at the bicep. It is a little tricky to turn. Once you get it turning, though, it does move all the way around. All the figures that share the Wonder Woman body mold are a little bit tricky to move right there. She has double jointed elbows that can bend in very, very nicely. Her forearm can actually touch her bicep. She has wrists that can move up and down and spin all the way around. She has a ball-jointed diaphragm and waist that can move back all the way. She can actually crunch forward a little bit. She can move side to side up here as well as in the waist, very slightly down here. But up here she can move all the way around. She has hips that can do a complete split. She can kick forward very far. She can kick back all the way. She has a decent thigh swivel. Could have been just a little bit better. She has double jointed knees that can move back all the way. She has ankles that can move down all the way, up all the way, spin all the way around, and toe articulation that can move up that far. So now, let's do some size comparisons. So first up here, she is next to the Collector's Edition Wonder Woman, which she shares a lot of parts with. Here she is next to Power Girl, another figure that uses parts with Wonder Woman. Here she is next to the regular Hawkman. I did repaint the wings a little bit because they were a little bland. Here she is next to the Platinum Hawkman, which I think looks a lot cooler with her. I can definitely see the demand for this Platinum Hawkman going up now that Hawkgirl's out. Here she is next to Blackfire. Hawkgirl and Hawkman actually fought her, if I remember right, in Hawkgirl's solo series. Here she is next to the Cowardly Lot Batman. Here she is next to fellow JSA members Dr. Fate and Alan Scott Green Lantern. Here she is next to the modern Flash and Superman. I think I'm going to be displaying mine with the modern Justice League. If I remember right, she actually finishes out the, I think it was 2018, the post-Dark Knight's Metal roster of the Justice League. I think that's how I'm going to display mine. And finally, here she is next to the modern Aquaman and Cyborg figures. So overall, I would highly recommend picking this up because I think McFarlane Toys did a very good job on this. I do have my nitpicks, like some of the design choices they made, like with the bracers and the feet, the deca only being painted on there. But other than that, I think this figure is really good. I think the sculpt is really solid, especially there on the wings, and the articulation is top-notch. I've definitely had a fun time posing this figure around. As I mentioned, you can get her in some really cool fighting poses because of how good the articulation is. So overall, I would highly recommend picking her up. Right now, she's only showing up at GameStop stores. I believe the pre-order doesn't actually launch until next week. So if you're wanting this, definitely head out to your GameStop and see if they got any in. So, that's my review. If you like this review, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.